No! No, no, no! No! No, 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 no!
The winds died, but the rain kept falling. The storm moved inland, and the destruction only grew. Born from the ocean, Kajiki tested Southeast Asia like never before. In late August 2025, what began as a disturbance in the South China Sea quickly grew into Typhoon Kajiki. A powerful Category 2 equivalent system with winds nearing 130 to 150 kilometers per hour. Vietnam was first in its path, and nothing would stand in its way. On August 25th, Kajiki slammed into Ha Tinh and Nghệ provinces of northern Vietnam. Trees snapped like matchsticks. Power lines crumpled into the streets, and floodwaters tore through neighborhoods. Hanoi's streets turned into rivers. Cars floated like toys, and whole villages were swallowed. By the end of its first night on land, at least 3 people were dead, a number that would climb to 7 by the time the storm passed. The destruction was immense. Over 10,000 homes and offices were damaged or destroyed. More than 86,000 hectares of crops, primarily rice and corn, were wiped out just weeks before harvest. In Ha Tinh province alone, officials put the losses at 3.2 trillion dong, or about 114 million US dollars. Families who had spent an entire year cultivating their fields watched them drown in a matter of hours. Tens of thousands were displaced, crowded into schools, temples, and government buildings turned into makeshift shelters. Soldiers waded through floodwaters to evacuate survivors, while helicopters dropped supplies into cut-off districts where landslides had buried highways. Kajiki weakened after landfall, but its fury was far from over. Instead of racing inland and losing power like most storms, Kajiki stalled. It began to feed off monsoon moisture, turning into a rain machine that refused to stop. Entire provinces endured 300 to 400 millimeters of rainfall in less than a day, 3 times their usual monthly total. Rivers swelled beyond their banks. Mudslides roared down bare hillsides stripped of trees, crushing homes and blocking rescue efforts. Every hour, the situation worsened. By August 27th, Kajiki's remnants pushed into northern Thailand. The winds had weakened, but the rain was merciless. Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Mae Hong Son, Nan, and Lampang bore the brunt. Twelve provinces were placed on red alert as valleys filled with water and slopes collapsed. In Chiang Mai, a landslide crushed homes, killing 4 people overnight. In Mae Hong Son, another victim drowned as rivers tore through entire neighborhoods. By August 28th, the official toll had risen to 5 dead, 15 injured, and 7 missing. Kajiki shattered Thailand's infrastructure. Highways buckled, landslides sealed mountain passes, and bridges were ripped away by raging torrents. Villages were isolated for days. In Chiang Mai alone, more than 1,000 residents were evacuated. Many carried to safety by boat as soldiers waded through chest-high water. Farmlands suffered catastrophic losses. Rice paddies turned into vast brown lakes. Coffee and corn plantations vanished beneath mud and debris. Thousands of array of crops were destroyed. With damages reaching into the hundreds of millions of baht. For farming families, the storm was not a passing disaster, but the beginning of years of debt, hunger, and uncertainty. Relief efforts were overwhelmed. Soldiers and volunteers pulled families from rooftops and ferried food and drinking water to cut off villages. The Thai Red Cross and UNICEF distributed medicine, blankets, and sanitation kits. On social media, #PrayForThailand trended as international aid arrived. Neighboring countries pledged support, recalling Thailand's assistance during their own disasters. Yet frustration grew. Environmental groups warned the devastation was not only the work of nature, decades of deforestation left hillsides prone to collapse. Unregulated construction blocked river channels. Clogged drains in major cities turned heavy rain into flash floods. Kajiki's force was natural, but human neglect magnified its impact. The suffering was visible everywhere. Families huddled in crowded shelters, grieving for those lost. Farmers wandered across ruined fields, watching their year's harvests sink into wasteland. Children clung to parents as aid workers handed out rations. Hospitals filled with the injured from landslides and collapsed homes. Aid groups warned of waterborne disease in overcrowded shelters. No outbreak had begun yet, but the threat hung heavy over every camp. Kajiki left Thailand scarred by water, by loss, and by mistakes too long ignored. By August 29th, rains began to ease, but Typhoon Kajiki's toll across Vietnam and Thailand had risen to at least 8 dead, dozens injured, and thousands displaced. Homes, roads, and farmland lay in ruins, with damages climbing into the billions of dollars. Meteorologists noted the storm's unusual behavior, its slow pace and relentless rainfall, mirroring patterns linked to climate change. By August 30th, the skies cleared, but devastation remained. Families in Ha Tin picked through flood-wrecked homes, while survivors in Chiang Mai mourned loved ones lost in landslides. Kajiki had passed, but its warning for the future was unmistakable. Kajiki was not just a storm, it was a warning. Homes can be rebuilt, but lessons must be learned. The question remains, will we prepare before the next disaster strikes? If this report gave you insight into something the headlines overlook, don't scroll past. Subscribe for more in-depth stories that connect the dots between disaster and decision. Hit like to help more people see what's unfolding, and tell us what you think, because your voice might be part of the solution we're all waiting for. Stay aware, stay connected, and stay hopeful, even when the storms keep coming.